Dwayne's World on SEN SA.
Welcome back to Dwayne's World, broadcasting live from Studio Lumo at 1 King William. Great to have you with me. Great to have Jarrad Wright on the line to have a chat as well. South Adelaide coach. South Adelaide signed Matthew Broadbent for 2020. It's a massive signing, and I'm sure the coach is pretty happy. Welcome to you, Jarrad. Great to have you on.
Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks for having me.
It is a big signing, and I'm sure there would have been a few that were after Matthew Broadbent, and he also had the option of staying and playing for the Magpies as well, no doubt.
Yeah, no, look, it is a big coup for the club anytime you get a player of Matthew's calibre with AFL experience into your program. It's certainly a big get for the club and one we're excited for 2020 moving forward.
So will he help out coaching and mentoring as well?
Yeah, look, he certainly will. It's something that he's done a fair bit at Port Adelaide through NGA programs, etc. And it's a passion that he's got for in career life after football is, working with kids and supporting like a youth practitioner social work. So we're going to apply him through our under 16s, under 18 academy programs with Mark Clayton, who runs that, our talent manager, another obviously ex-Port Adelaide captain, and he'll certainly obviously work with our younger players coming through the senior grades as well in a leadership role.
It shouldn't take that much for you to improve. You've also signed Keegan Brooksby, which is a massive signing as well for you.
Yeah, we had a couple of holes to fill. Obviously, we lost Keegan with the new supplementary list rules last year, and then we lost Hayden McLean, our key forward, a month before round one, and then we lost our other ruckman, Michael Noah, in the mid-season draft. So we did have, some space to fill this year, salary cap-wise and obviously positioning-wise, and it's great to get Keegan back to the footy club, and obviously, we've signed James Rose from the Sydney Swans and Matthew Broadbent over in the last week. So we're certainly going to have a bit of a new look midfield this season.
So did the Swans just not give him as much opportunity that he deserved? How did all that unfold? How did you see it from your eyes, and how did he see it from his eyes?
It's probably a little hard to comment regarding, opportunity, because obviously I sort of come across James this year. I went over mid-year and did some work at the Swans, in their coaching program as a bit of a professional development. And basically from then on, we sort of started to take a little bit more notice of, obviously, the Sydney NEAFL players. And James was certainly playing some good footy, this season in the NEAFL grade. And even played some really good AFL games this year. So I think, maybe some consistency over the 5 years he was there and couldn't quite find a spot. But, no doubt, if he plays a good season at South Adelaide Football Club next year, he's only 23, so there's still plenty of opportunities for him to get redrafted with a new, supplementary list and mid-season drafts.
So he wasn't originally from South. The Keegan Brooksby was, but James was from, Sturt, wasn't he?
He was from Sturt, yeah. So we've had a bit of an external raid in regards to, other junior players from other clubs. It's something, probably the success that we've had with, mature age drafting over the past 5 years out of our program. I think we're probably leading the way in the sample with the programs that we're running. So I think that was probably a little bit of a pull for James in regards to a potential re-entry to the AFL. And certainly he fit in with, some of the cultural changes we've made over the last 12 months with our list management. Keegan obviously coming back helps that with a dominant ruck. And I think for Brogsy, I've known Matty Broadbent for over probably 10 or 11 years through our junior pathway at Henley Football Club and through the Eagles. And probably some of the connections that we've had there in support off field with career paths, South was a good fit for him.
Talking to Jarrad Wright from South Adelaide, the South Adelaide coach. So how are you reading this whole mid-season draft, pre-season stealing of players when you think you've got the guy and all of a sudden he gets taken by an AFL club? Do you think it's going to end up seeing more players come to the SANFL because they know that that's the best pathway back to the AFL, or if they haven't had a chance and they're 24, 25 years of age and haven't been drafted, that the SANFL's the best place to get noticed? Or do you think it's still a raid that costs you so dearly it's hard for you guys to cope, especially if you lose, your big gun mid-year?
I think it's probably works two ways, essentially. I think at this stage it probably hurts the state league clubs more than obviously probably what it helps the AFL clubs. And we've used that in regards to our recruiting strategy this year, certainly from, applying, getting James to the club. We're still in contact with a couple of other state league players from other state leagues, for that enticement to say that, look, we've had probably 6 or 7 mature age draftees over the last, 4 or 5 seasons. Our program from mature age development, certainly one of the better ones. And although that obviously hasn't reflected in, probably the much loved premiership that South's a long waiting for, it does hurt that in regards to when you lose key players around the start of the season and mid-season. But I guess from a culture and a football program that we're building, it's probably getting recognised a little bit more outside South Australia.
So the tough part is, and Roy Laird sort of spoke about his opposition to, the competition with Port Adelaide and the Adelaide Crows reserves being part of the SANFL. He sort of, I don't want to paraphrase him and take him out of context, but he didn't seem as if it felt right. How do you feel about having Port Magpies and the Crows reserves in there? From
a SANFL purist, it probably seems a little bit off, but certainly to be playing against, AFL talent, I guess 4 times a year, because you play each other twice with a 10-team comp now. It's an even draw. It's certainly challenging for the players, and it's quite rewarding. We beat Port Magpies at round 3 this year when they had 18 AFL listed players and beat them quite comfortably, and then we had a real challenge the last game we played them in round 15 when, Charlie Dixon, Motlop, Laddams, all these types of players are playing, and we got within 4 goals. It was quite a good effort. Unfortunately, that was probably the game that cost us finals, which you could look at it, in a different angle. But certainly, they're in it for good, and I guess we need to embrace the pathway of AFL football, and that's what it's all about: is getting players to their dream to have a crack. And if we treat them well and we leave on the right terms, I'll certainly come back and play in the SANFL comp, which will only better the competition long term.
So the balance is okay, do you believe, now with the allowances that they get, given the Crows and Port Adelaide still haven't won a SANFL flag whilst they've been in the AFL?
I think, again, like 2 years ago, both Port and Crows were, bottom 2, and then this year they were 2nd and 3rd. I guess probably from a South Adelaide perspective, the 2 years, or probably the 3 years out of the last 6, when both AFL teams have made the finals, we've finished 6th on percentage or out by a game. The years that one of the teams haven't played, we've snuck in and finished 4th or 5th. So that just shows that, we've got improvement that we need to make from a club's perspective, and we've done that by, strategising our recruitment. Our junior programs over the last 3 or 4 years have been really successful at under 18 level with making grand finals. So we're starting to get a bit more depth from our junior grades, which is, hopefully long term, creates us, to be a little bit more of a top 3 team consistently. So the balance is still, dependent on injuries. Probably, with now how they can pick up players mid-season when they do have 2 or 3 injuries, helps the AFL clubs retain, I guess, quality players on their list, which in the back half of the season, if that happens, obviously it depletes the SANFL clubs, which is a bit of an area of concern, especially obviously this year we lost a couple. So I think it's still maturing and developing from the AFL. Whether they get to an in-season trading period, which might lighten the load of the potential mature age draftees, we'll soon find out over the next coming years, I guess. Yeah,
great to have you on, Jarrad. Nice to be able to pick your brain and have a chat to somebody who's entrenched in it and kind of understands where the blend in the systems is, and wish you the best of luck.